Morning guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. I wanted to do something a little bit different in this race, so I wanted to see if I could do an overlay of the replay on the bottom right of the main race on the main screen. As you can see, it's been a bit of headaches. So in this race, GTR, it was quite an interesting one. It was Daily Race C a couple of weeks ago. What turned out to be quite cool is before everybody jumped to the Altezas, I had 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. In fact, behind me was Mercedes-Benz as well. So we had 5 manufacturers in the top 5, but us 4 in the front started to break away and make it an interesting race. So obviously I used my Porsche. In front of me I got the GTR, and then we've got a French driver in the Subaru, which was an interesting choice for this track. And then right at the front we've got the Alteza, the Russian driver. So yeah, 12 laps. There is tyre wear, there is obviously fuel wear, but in this particular race we didn't need to do any pit stops, so it was just a straight sprint from start to finish. It was actually quite a clean race. So this time I got my rating back to AS. It was some good clean racing here. The GTR in front of me, a little nudge, wait for him to come back around. As I said, it was actually quite nice. It was a good time to actually race with some sensible drivers, and at the same time a lot of guys that understand what racing in space is all about. So at this time I was still racing on my gamepad, so I obviously had a bit of an issue with tyre wear. I seem to burn through the tyres a lot quicker on the pad than before I got my wheel set up, so I'm busy playing around with my wheel at the moment. We've got the bracket built. It's still a prototype. We are busy with 1 or 2 other things to try and make it a bit sturdier and look a little bit better. But we'll have a finished product coming up quite soon. So yes, as I say, this is still on the gamepad, so you'll notice the steering is quite aggressive. So some plans for the future. We are looking to do a 24-hour race for Nürburgring. I'll have an update on the channel soon. We want to race 16 cars, 15 cars, GT3 cars owned, so we're busy testing a few things and putting everything in line so we can get that going. Obviously with Lamar being moved this year, over that weekend we want to run it at the same time, so stay up to date. We will keep you guys updated with what our plans are and what we're busy testing. There'll be another video of some information coming out soon. So in this race, the GTR in front of me I thought was a little bit slower. I didn't think that he was going to be as quick as he was. First 2 laps he was not keeping up to the guys. I was slowly but surely falling off as well. Some corners, being the Porsche, I can really pull him in, and then on the main straight the GTR just rockets down the straight. So I was hoping for him to just get a little bit closer and pull me in the slipstream, just so we can get a little bit more competitive with the guys up front. So in the front, the Alteza, he's dictating the pace in the front. Subaru behind him, French driver holding, literally on his tail, looking for a chance to move. So Interlagos, not much place to overtake. Best overtaking position will be on this main straight, but again, having a lack of speed on the main straight, you're going to really catch up to the GTR. So there you see the Subaru going for the move on the inside. The Alteza holds the outside, back on the inside, leaving a gap for the GTR. GTR had a little bit of sideways action, and obviously all of this means that I'm back in play. So I give the GTR a bit of a nudge. GTR makes its way on the inside, the second best overtaking position on the circuit. On the brakes through the left-hander, and the GTR gains the position. So I look on the inside, and I get my position on the Subaru as well. So I've now moved up to 3rd place. Now it's a matter of hunting down the guy in 1st. So this section over here is where the Porsche was strong. I wanted to see if I could just sneak my nose in on the GTR to get ahead of him. I knew I'd probably lose a bit of speed on the main straight, but maybe if I hold inside, I could line him up for turn 1 and stay in the 2nd place position. But kudos to this Italian driver. He made this GTR super wide in certain areas where I just couldn't get past him. But I try to stay nice and close, getting on the gas coming out the last corner. What you can't see behind us, there is a Mercedes-Benz AMG. He's 2 positions behind me, and he had a bit of a bad start. He was pushed and bumped around a little bit. Thank God for me, because later on in the race you'll see how he starts to close the gap on me as well. But yeah, so at the moment, top 4 cars, equal gap between all of us. We started to pull a bit of a gap to 5th place onwards. Started to make for some good racing, so I was a bit excited here, finding guys that actually enjoy racing, number 1. And number 2, guys that are very much the same pace as me. So yeah, it was something a little bit different. As you've seen in my last couple of videos, it's just a matter of getting bumped and pushed and trying to find both the penalty system, which still seems to be a problem at the moment. Alright, so GTR is now sitting on the Mazda, nice and close, putting a lot of pressure. I've got a bit of breathing space between me and the car in front and the car behind, so I just try to run my normal lines. Later on in the week I eventually did use the Mazda. I did go a bit faster, but I tried to stay away from it. I wanted to use the Porsche because not a lot of people use the Porsche. In the GT3 class I like to be a little bit different. I noticed the BOP, the cars are a lot closer, unlike the GR4 cars where the BOP is completely different on a rear-wheel drive car to a front-wheel drive car. So this week's races are on Maggiore. The dominating car once again is the Peugeot. To be honest, I'm actually doing quite well there. I'm in the top 400 in our region. The quality time 2039, but I'll have 1 or 2 videos of those coming up as well. So back on the main straight, GTR did pick up the Altezza slipstream. I maintained a gap to the GTR in front of me, so I couldn't obviously get past it, but that helped pull me towards the Mazda in the front as well. So coming into the Senna S's, this line that I'm running now with my wheels on the dirt, I found to be quite good because I could get the exit on the way out. And the gearing on the Porsche, you'll see I short shift second gear to get the drive through the S's onto this main straight. Okay, so Altezza goes a little bit defensive. You'll notice the Subaru behind me is also catching up quite nicely. Helps me if they start fighting. And again, top 4 is covered by about a second. Brought us all back in, and we're not even halfway through the race just yet. So Taiway is starting to kick in. As I said, I suffered quite a bit with this Porsche when it came to Taiway. I looked on the outside of this corner here. I didn't know where the GTR was. GTR regained his position. Okay, Subaru gives me a bit of a nudge from behind. Stayed a little bit defensive here coming into the right hand as Subaru ran his normal line. Now you'll notice how close we are coming onto that main straight. So I was quite certain here if this GTR gets good drive, he was going to make his way next to the Altezza, and I was potentially going to squeeze with him into turn 1. So here we go, onto the main straight. So GT on the inside, coming down to turn 1. I started pulling in the Mazda because he didn't have the slipstream from the GTR. And I'm right on top of the Altezza this time. Subaru gives me a nudge from behind, I give the Altezza a little nudge. Nonetheless, we're all still on top of each other. Now, problem here was, if I look on the inside, the Altezza is going to sit in the GTR slipstream, so I didn't think I'd be able to get the drive. So I just ran my normal line. Try to just get on the inside of this Altezza, and again this Subaru using a little nudge. Okay, coming into the section where the Porsche is quite strong. So I've changed my line slightly, braked a little bit earlier in some places, a little bit later in some, tried to just change the line so I could get on the inside, but again, a lot of the time these guys just made their cars super wide so I couldn't find a way past. So you can see the Subaru behind me getting a little bit anxious. One thing he wasn't good at is just keeping the distance. So if I'm slowing down from the cars in front of me, he just rams you. He doesn't understand that as fast as the slowest car in a convoy like this. But nonetheless, I let it go. I understood that he was going to keep doing it, and I was just hoping on the exit of the corners like that, he'd give me a bit of a nudge. Just so I could get closer to the cars in front. The Subaru wasn't the fastest on the main straight. I thought he would actually be pulling me in a lot more than what he actually did in most places. So the Porsche held its own in a straight line when it came to speed, which I was originally concerned about, but then I was quite shocked at how fast this Porsche actually was. Okay, so halfway through the race, as I said, my tyres started to wear a lot. I didn't think I was going to overtake the guys in front of me, so I thought, alright, well, let's try hang on to the guys in front and let's just start running a little bit more defensive lines. So you'll notice here Subaru gets the drive. I went to the right, he moved to the left, so I was like, okay, well, stay partially defensive through this section just so there's no way for him to move. Held the brakes a bit more so I can hold the apex on the inside, obviously losing a bit of position to the cars in front. Over here he was quite quick through this left hand. I don't know if it was because he was in the Subaru or he was a better driver than me, but I got a lot of axle trap coming through there and I felt that the Porsche just wasn't turning enough, whereas that Subaru looked like he could get his nose quite easily into that left-hander, so he was quite a bit quicker. I tried to hold the inside so there's no way around me unless he went on the outside. Coming onto the main straight, I get some good drive coming out of this corner. So coming in, the Subaru closes the gap on the exit, which is what I sacrificed. A little bit slower on the entrance and get the drive on the exit. I seem to pull about 2 or 3 tenths on the Subaru behind me. So it was a matter of catch up before he could have a chance to overtake me into turn 1. So a bit far, didn't think he was going to go for the move. You'll notice he does brake a little bit later than me. Mazda gets a big sideways, so I've got the drive on him coming through here. So at this time GTR started to run away, and if we couldn't hold his slipstream with that straight alone, that's about 0.3, 0.4 seconds on the main straight that he could move from us, and then obviously we had to try and play catch up in the middle section of the circuit. So Subaru giving me another bump. So I was thinking about looking on the outside of the Mazda here, wasn't close enough, so I thought let me brake a little bit earlier. Try and get the drive through the second right-hander into the hard right up at the top of the hill, and again I just couldn't get onto the gas. So have a look how the Subaru catches me through this section. You'll see how close he gets. A little bit defensive once again. Altezza gets a bit of understeer. Right on the back of the Altezza. Okay, so I sacrificed my line there, running a bit wide, so I'm going to lose speed. On the brakes into the last corner, needed to get good drive. Hoping he wasn't in the GTR slipstream so I could try slingshot past him into turn 1. He's a little too far back. Right, starting lap 9. That's where it starts to get a little bit interesting. So at this time I thought, okay, I do have an opportunity to overtake this Altezza. I must just put a little bit of pressure on just to see where he makes his mistakes. Subaru did start to drop off and I was like, cool, so maybe I'm on for a second place. Potentially catching the GTR, highly unlikely, but I just really wanted to get in front of his Mazda. So on the brakes here, you'll notice pull the Mazda in, get a good turning point on the exit. Like I said, I really started to look, but at the same time I started to really struggle with the front end when turning in. Okay, ran a bit wide there. Subaru closes the gap through this left-hander again. Brakes. One thing I was quite chuffed with was the consistency of the laps. Even though we had the tyres degrading, the consistency of the laps seemed to be quite good. Obviously, with the pressure all on, it wasn't as quick as our quali times, but we held on. So started to lose it here. Altezza had a very good lap, so I was like, yeah, you know, we're just going to push a little bit harder and try to get closer to him. At the same time, I've got to try and preserve these tyres. Fuel wasn't an issue. You'll notice especially the front started to wear. With the fronts wearing so much, you really had to adjust your steering so that at least you could make it through the corner rather than understeer on the way out. So slower in to get the line and then accelerate out. Which started to catch up with me a little bit later, as you'll see. So, nice combination. I'm enjoying the GL3 cars again. I do like the circuit, and I found that yes, the Altezza was a little bit overpowered for this track, but it wasn't massively overpowered like some of the other circuits that we've recently got. Last week we had Fuji a couple of weeks ago, so there you noticed a lot of hurricanes. Here was obviously the Altezza. GR4 has been the big thing at the moment. Maggiore, the Peugeot is just absolutely dominating at the moment. So Subaru gives me a nudge there. Obviously getting frustrated because I'm braking early and he takes the position. So I was highly annoyed here. I was, after such a clean race, Zachvich just decides, well, let me just punt him a little bit wide so I can get the line. So I was like, okay, well, I'm in your slipstream here. Again, Porsche's got some good drive on the slipstream, and he didn't even defense. I was okay, maybe, you know, felt a little bit bad. He'll give me the gap. Very clean overtake, no contact. Back up to third place. Okay, now we're obviously losing touch of first and second place, so it's really starting to affect us. And what you can't see here is that the Mercedes-Benz behind us was really starting to pull us in. There was actually two cars. There was Mercedes-Benz and a Hurricane that started to close us in. It was already hitting me again. So I didn't know this at this time just yet. I was just trying to hold off the Subaru on the side defensive I go, which I'm entitled to do. Try to duck his nose on the inside. I held the apex. He hits me again. Go to the right hand. I go defensive. Hits me again. Hits me again. Hits me again. Hits me again. This is where I started to get quite irritated. There he shunts me completely wide. It doesn't give me the position back. So as I do, give him a mist, give him a shunt, try shunt him again, I run wide. Story of my life. I need to start calming my nerve, but what irritates me is, in an instance like that, why are you shunting me? Why are you bumping me? Just look for a clean way past. Yes, I got tyre wear, but then play smart. So that became the result for the rest of the race. We had the Italian in first, the GTR, followed by the Mazda, followed by Squidward, myself in fourth place. So initially very nice race, and it had the potential to be a good race, and if the Subaru just used his brain a little bit, maybe if he bumped off me or pushed me a little bit, couldn't find a way past, let's get closer to the guy in front so we can potentially overtake him and then the Subaru can come second. Narrow mindset, it's a matter of let's just push, let's just see if we can get one position's better than no position. So yeah, so as I said guys, we are looking at doing the 24-hour race. I'll have an update video on that soon. We're going to be sticking with GR3 cars only. We will have one of two options. We'll have two cars per team. Each team will be allocated a car, or we'll just have 15 different options of cars, 3 per team, 4 per team, which I will release all the information on that. So like and follow me on YouTube, Instagram I'm on there as well, short_shift48, we'll have updates on there. Sorry, that's my YouTube. On Facebook it is short_shift_driver_training, and that will have information and updates of obviously this. And then when we start getting stuff, we've got some merch that is coming out. We've got some other ideas that we're busy working on this lockdown. But yeah, give us a follow, like and subscribe, to keep up to date with what we're doing. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys soon.